Gospel vocalist Kirk Talley opted for silence over explanation for a long time. Fans praised his strong faith and commanding voice, but there was always a nagging doubt about his tight collaboration with Bill and Gloria Gaither. Despite the fact that it was crucial to Kirk's career, people noticed that he hardly discussed that period of his life. Although it wasn't loud, his stillness was audible. At this point in his life, Kirk feels at last prepared to talk honestly. Calm honesty, not drama or rage. He clarifies that some stories are not appropriate to share immediately. They require maturity, patience, and understanding. He is speaking up now to provide clarity, peace, and truth to a subject that has been misinterpreted for far too long rather than to make headlines. One thing stands out above all else as this chapter of Kirk Talley's trip takes shape. Speaking late does not automatically equate to speaking regretfully, and quiet does not always imply distance. Kirk took a calm route for a long time. His personal experiences remained concealed beneath grace, discipline, and faith, but he let his music speak. Although it appeared to the outside world that he completely avoided the subject, in reality, he was just waiting for the ideal opportunity, one that would be characterized by maturity, introspection, and tranquility. Collaborating with Bill and Gloria Gaither was more than just a career move for him. It was a time that profoundly influenced him as a person and as an artist. He went into that room with admiration, respect, and a desire to improve. The responsibility of using music to convey faith held significant weight, and there were high expectations and strict standards. Even under duress, Kirk discovered what it means to be prepared, disciplined, and spiritually anchored. Long after the stages were empty and the tours were over, he continued to think about those lessons. However, growth seldom occurs without difficulty. At times, Kirk experienced the silent battle of discovering his own voice while being a part of something far greater than himself. This was not conflict or bitterness, but rather an inward struggle that many artists have, figuring out where they fit in while paying tribute to those who shaped them. He kept these ideas to himself, choosing patience over explanation and introspection over response. He realized that once words are said in public, they have force and cannot be retracted. So he bided his time. Life gradually tempered his viewpoint. Distance provided clarity, and age brought wisdom. Kirk realized that while quiet had been useful, it had also prevented some aspects of his tale from being shared. The narrative was relevant, not because it was painful. Furthermore, important tales should be told honestly rather than covertly. When he did decide to talk, it was not to dispel rumors or attract attention. It was just to respect the truth, his truth. Kirk did not speak with resentment or accusation when he broke his quiet. Rather, his remarks were filled with appreciation and respect. He recognized Gloria and Bill Gaither's contribution to his journey, the teachings they imparted, and the avenues they opened. He also talked about how the season improved his understanding of himself, including his skills, limitations, and desire for balance. His story was strengthened rather than weakened by this candor. People were more moved by the way he delivered his remarks than by what he really said. There was no drama, no rage, and no attempt to change the past. Just contemplation, just expansion, just grace. Fans listened as individuals who could relate to his situation rather than as onlookers. Many knew what it was like to develop under close supervision, to feel both thankful and challenged, and to leave with both lessons learned and appreciation. Kirk discovered a sense of calm that had been silently waiting for him after telling his story. Speaking gently closed old chapters rather than reopening them. He had at last respected his own path, so he no longer felt the need to defend himself. He was able to move forward with a lighter heart and concentrate on what he could offer going forward rather than the past because of that calm. In addition to being a gospel singer, Kirk now serves as a mentor, a listener, and a reminder that development doesn't necessarily occur in noisy settings. Sometimes it takes place in faith, patience, and stillness. His experience shows that honesty and respect can coexist, and that sharing your story doesn't have to involve demeaning other people. All that is needed is the truth. It's not about endings in this final chapter. It has to do with comprehension, about realizing that each season has a purpose, even if it is unclear. Kirk's tale serves as a reminder that we don't have to give the world answers right now. We owe ourselves tranquility, introspection, and the guts to speak when our hearts are ready. Ultimately, Kirk Talley's revelations were about character more than controversy. Clarity, not conflict. And the stillness was broken with intention rather than under duress. His path serves as a silent reminder that growth driven by faith is never hurried, pushed, or wasted. Every stride, pause, and word uttered at the appropriate moment contributes to an honest, comprehensive, and profoundly human account. Kirk Talley's early gospel music career. Kirk Talley's passion for worship and religion was the foundation of his gospel music career. He was committed to utilizing his voice to serve long before big stages and famous names. His early years were characterized by education, self-discipline, and a great desire to develop personally and artistically. He thought that music was about purpose rather than attention. Opportunities gradually became available as his talent became increasingly apparent. However, Kirk maintained his privacy and was cautious about what he disclosed to the public, even as his career took off. More than praise, he valued quiet development, humility, and respect. Every action he did in the field was influenced by this way of thinking. First meeting with Gloria and Bill Gaither. Kirk was still figuring out his place in the gospel world when he first met Bill and Gloria Gaither. They were already legendary to him, individuals whose music had influenced millions of others. The meeting was both terrifying and meaningful. He was impressed by their discipline, their vision, and the way they applied their religion to their job. Kirk considered the chance to collaborate with them to be both an honor and a duty. He was aware that this chapter would have an unanticipated impact on his future. Collaborating closely with the Gaithers. It was rigorous, regimented, and difficult to work with Bill and Gloria Gaither. Kirk's surroundings forced him to develop swiftly. Focus, dedication, and excellence were necessary during rehearsals. There were expectations for every performance, both spiritually and musically. During this time, Kirk gained important knowledge about consistency, leadership, and teamwork. He had a great deal of admiration for the Gaithers, but he also experienced the burden of being associated with such a significant gospel music brand. It was a season of development, but it also put his emotional fortitude to the test. The unspoken difficulties. Kirk had difficulties behind the scenes that he never discussed in public. There were moments when he wondered if he really belonged there. He felt a great deal of pressure to live up to expectations. Although he appeared confident to the audience, he struggled with fatigue and self-doubt on the inside. While attempting to fit into a broader vision, he was concerned about losing his personal identity. These difficulties were brought about by the quiet battle to strike a balance between respect, ambition, and personal truth, rather than by conflict. Why Kirk was quiet for such a long time. Kirk felt that respect was more important than explanation. Therefore, he opted for silence. He didn't want his remarks to be misinterpreted or interpreted negatively. Even as he processed his personal experiences, he felt a strong need to preserve the legacy of Gloria and Bill Gaither. Silence was not a sign of weakness to him. It required patience. He had faith that the time would come when it would be safe to be honest. The moment everything changed. Kirk started thinking more carefully about his life and path as the years went by. Clarity comes with age. He came to see that although silence had been protective, it had also concealed valuable lessons that may benefit others. This insight turned into a pivotal moment. He realized that telling his tale was not disrespectful. Growth was implied. He felt at ease and confident enough to speak at last in that moment. Kirk's real disclosure. Kirk's message was calm and unambiguous when he did open up. He clarified that there was no disagreement or resentment. His stay with the Gaithers was both difficult and meaningful. He became a wiser individual and a stronger artist as a result. He admitted that every season teaches something worthwhile and that growth frequently involves discomfort. His remarks regarding Gloria and Bill Gaither. Kirk mentioned Bill and Gloria Gaither with appreciation. He expressed gratitude to them for the platform, chances, and lessons that shaped his career. He acknowledged that there were disparities in working approaches, but there was always respect for one another. He spoke with caution, honesty, and grace. Fans' response to his disclosure reacted with empathy and encouragement. His composure and maturity were greatly appreciated. They witnessed honesty rather than drama. They saw reflection rather than blame. They respected him more and were better able to comprehend his path because of his candor, recovery, and individual development. Kirk was relieved to have spoken his truth. He was able to peacefully conclude a chapter by sharing his tale. He applied what he had learned to mentor upcoming artists, emphasizing that although development is not always easy, it is always worthwhile. Faith, development, and grace. Ultimately, neither quiet nor revelation are central to Kirk's tale. It's about grace, faith, and timing. Every stage of life, Even the peaceful ones has lessons to teach. Kirk honors his past without being constrained by it by speaking at last. His story serves as a reminder that while growth frequently occurs in silence, healing starts when the truth is respectfully and wisely communicated.